Hello Thomas YouTubers, today we're finishing up on Leah's Percy. Now I wanted to take a look at this. The condition of the battery carriage, this coach right here. Notice all the paint missing off here. Now that's not a bad, that's about average. That's what I normally would expect to see from a 20-plus-year-old toy. But when I started looking at the Percy, because the Percy's where I'm going today, look at this Percy. Now there is a little bit of abrasion right here, but look at the paint. I mean, that paint, other than that one abrasion spot, I mean, a lot of times you'll, right in here, where it says off and on, will get rubbed off by the hands coming off, and you'll see green through there. But other than that little abrasion, look at the, I mean, there's not missing any paint on the dome or the whistle. And the face looks good. I mean, it's just, so what I think what happened here is, I think at one point, either they lost the battery carriage was damaged past repair, and so they got rid of it and got a new one, an older one, or vice versa on this. I don't think by the comparative differences between the two. See, you can see the reflection of the light and the camera in the roof. I mean, look how dull this is. I don't think they're original pair, but it don't matter. We're going to get it fixed and see what happens. So today's story is about this guy, the Percy. And at the condition it's in, I think all I got to do is connect the wires back together, and I think it's going to run. But you never know. You never know who's got in there and what they did when they got inside of it. All right, so let's get started. Okay. All right, so this is, so somebody has been inside this loco, and that's not correct. Right there, that's somebody soldered that back together. And let me take this and get it out of the way. All right. And let's take a look what we got going on right here. Okay, that's a speaker wire. The broken jointed wire is a speaker wire going to the speaker. Don't know if it's any good, but let's look around here on the other side. And the black and the yellow wire are generally the wires that run into the loco for the stopping and going of the motor. So the black and the yellows look okay. This is the green wire once again. And let's take a close look up here and see if anybody's worked on here. Yeah, this has been worked on, because normally the leads would go on the top of this. The leads would be on top. Somebody's gone in and put it through the bottom. I could tell by the condition of the solder that this has been redone. Hopefully it'll still work. We'll take a look at the board, see if we see anything burnt up. Nothing looks burnt up anymore underneath there. All right. So looks like what I'm going to have to do is replace this wire right here. Let's see, there's the green wire. Where's that red wire? The red wire is right there. All right, so that's what I got to do next, so let's get at that. Okay, in a couple of videos past, I've been reevaluating this thing. A couple of videos past, I talked to you about I don't like to mess too much with the wires on this board right here, because they're very brittle, and you mess with one, you break the other one. So I'm going to take a minimalist approach to this. So I'm going to try to leave this alone. If it works, it works. Okay, I'm not going to try to redo all that. And also, I'm going not to desolder all these out. I'm going to cut the wire right about here somewhere, the red and the green wire, and run my red and black wire up to it. So that's where I'm going to go. That's what I decided to do with this. I'm going to have to cut that green one. Now take a look at those solder blobs right here. Look at that big solder blobs. Look at that. That right here, big solder blob, and another thing. It's so big I can't take it out. Let's back up the camera a little bit so we can focus. Okay, all right, next thing is to do is take this and I'm going to have to loosen this up. No, let's don't do that now. Let's just go underneath. I'm going to make these wires longer so I can wrap them. Hang on. Okay. Now I'm going to pause. When I'm going to pause the camera, I got to get some parts. And then okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach red to red and black to green. And you go underneath here. And I'm going to take them. Oh, I got to put my heat shrink on. These are called heat shrinks. You've seen me use them before. You slide them on first before you do any work. And when you get it connected, these will apply some heat and they will shrink down on top of the on the wire to keep it from being exposed, which would cause a short. So I got my heat shrinks on. All right, now let's finish up. Okay, I got the two wires connected. So now I got to put some solder on there. Let's see if I tighten it up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing here. Alrighty, get it right there. Yeah, there, that looks good. And the way solder works, let me tell you something about the way solder works. The solder will always flow toward the heat. At least that's what I've been taught. So you put your soldering iron on one side of your wire and you put the solder on the other side. And you just sort of touch it and let it go toward the heat. Okay. They're connected. Next thing to do is I'm going to trim it a little bit. Okay, I trimmed them up a little bit, and now I'm going to put the heat shrinks down on it, on the exposed copper wires, like that. And then I'm going to slide this one over top of it where it needs to go. And now I'm going to apply some heat to it. Okay, there, and this only needs to do this for just a little bit. And that's it. All right. Technically, I should be able to turn on the switch and this guy should run. Let me back up just a little bit. I should be able to turn on the switch if everything's right. Switch is on back here. Turn this on up here.
Percy, and I'm the number 6 engine.
Uh-oh. Well, y'all heard that. He's the number 6 engine. So, let me turn them on. So we got an English-speaking Percy. Fantastic. That's great. I love working on different stuff. All right, so the only thing I dislike of what we got going on right now is I got this exposed wire. I got this exposed wire right here. The repairman in me wants to go in there and just take all that out, desolder the whole thing and put a new wire in. But man, once you get in there and you start messing around with this, and this wire pops out, that wire pops out, and then when you're in the middle of trying to fix it, you burn up the chip, and so it's just you're getting into the danger zone a little bit But this right here, okay, after consideration, I said, well, this is an English-speaking Percy. This is a quite unusual one. Took the wires apart, got rid of all that bad soldering joint that was right there, reconstructed it, and put a heat shrink on it, and hopefully that'll hold it for quite a while. So the next thing to do is to always test what you think you fixed. So let's get it back out, and let's give it another shot here.
I'm Percy, and I'm the number 6 engine.
All right, there you go. I don't hear too much grinding going on. Oh, I do hear a little bit. All right, next thing to do is to take it, go put it up on the track and see if the talk and action portion of this loco works. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so I got Leah's English-speaking Percy, talk and action Percy, on the track to see if the activation part of the talk and action part works. So let's give it a run, see how it does.
I'm Percy, and I'm the number 6 engine.
Lurches a little bit, lurches forward. That could be a gear or it could be tires. All right, went across that track, nothing. This would be all the board, nothing there. It could be the lurching that's causing that problem. Oh, we got to stop. So hey, something works here. Nothing there. Nothing there. But we did get one working, so we know it works. Might be I just have to go in there and clean up that contact. Nothing there. Okay, so I think that's what we need to do. Oh, we got another stop. Is it? That's the same spot as last time. All right, so we're going to take it in and clean up that contact in the activation arm. Okay, I just remembered. Remember I was telling you the colors of the wire? I didn't like the colors of the wire. And being that it spoke English, reminded me of one of my viewers. And I'm sorry, I can't remember which one it was, but one of my viewers told me a while back that if it's got the green and red wires here, that is from England. So there you go. One of my viewers was correct. So the green was original color, but it was for an English color. And I'm so used to working with Playrail. But anyway, so what we got to do is got to get inside here, because on the track it would not activate every time. So it makes it sound like there's some particles or something like that on the switch. Call it a blade switch. That there might be some particles on there to keep it from contacting when it goes over. Also inside the motor, I looked at the wheels. These are the wheels, and they look in decent shape. Let me get a little closer. They look in decent shape. They're nice and round. So I was trying to figure out why was it lurching as it went around. It was vroom, 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 and it could be maybe the gear on the motor might be loose, and it catches and it goes. So we might have to crack inside that to take a look. But the first thing I want to get into is this switch right up here. Get inside there and clean up that switch. All right, there's the little spring. See that little spring? That's an important little spring to keep track of. Make sure you don't lose that spring. So that's what bounces this up and down right here. All right, let's see if I can get in. Maybe tighten up a little bit, maybe. And I'm trying to get inside here. And if you look inside that little tiny hole right there, you can see the spring inside there in that little hole. But I don't have a tool small enough to go in there and clean that with. So I have to open it up to get it. Okay, I'm trying to get to that little spring right there. Okay, I'm gonna tighten it in really tight. Okay, let's see if I can get it in there. Oh, too close. Okay, all right, so there's two. This is the spring. when it hits this pad, goes up, when it hits those bumps and makes contact, there's two little metal contacts right here and right there on the bottom of the spring and on the top of that spring. It comes up and makes contact. What happens though, that gets dirt and grud and everything else because it's close to the floor on these little contacts, and then it won't function properly. So I'm going to go in there with some little light sandpaper and clean it up. One of the other things I noticed also is that this bottom part of the spring is, see how this is nice and flat? It goes straight up, nice and flat. Well, the other side over here comes up and then falls away. So I'm going to go ahead and try to tighten, straighten it out a little. All right, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to connect it all back. Okay, now we got to install this spring. Okay, just make sure everything's still working.
Percy, and I'm the number 6 engine.
I definitely hear it. If you watch. Oh yeah, there's definitely a gear problem. Alright, so let's turn that off and get at it. That was louder than when it was on the track. I don't know why, but anyway, so the next thing we got to do is got to take that motor apart and see why it's doing what it's doing. Here. Now these weights right here, they're not perfectly square. They're a rectangle. And you want the longest part to always stand up, because if you don't, it'll cover up that screw right there. So let's see if I can get it apart here and take a look on the inside. Yeah, I could see it. I see it already. It's right where here. Let's tighten it up. I saw it right. It's at the right position. See that line going through that gear? It's that black line going right. Let me get it a little tighter maybe. See that line going right through that gear? That's the crack. Oh. Let's go back the other way. Oh, my finger's in the way. There it is. So I know I got to take that off, and I'll just check the other gears while they're at it. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, probably a 10 tooth, but I always count them. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 tooth. Slide right off. Okay, tighten it up a little bit maybe. Oh, wrong way. Okay. Okay, that's done. All right, now I'm going to inspect the other gears off camera just to make sure they're healthy. Okay, it's time to put this motor back together, and I'm seeing something different on this English-speaking Percy that I don't see on the Japanese. This is called a capacitor. Let me move it around so you can see. Let me get in a little tighter. This is called a capacitor. A capacitor doesn't like the change in voltage. If your voltage levels drop, the capacitor will discharge and put more voltage in. What normally you would see right here would be a couple of inductors. Inductors don't like the change of current. So if the current level dropped, the capacitors would the inductors would discharge current back into the system. This particular Talking Action does not have the two inductors that are here. If you look at some of my old videos on the Japanese models, you see an inductor here and an inductor here. That's that green looking resistor looking thing, but they're not there. That's just something I noticed different. And the reason why they're there is because when the train is running, it's taking the it's putting all the power to the motor to keep the motor running around the track. But when it starts talking and starts activating, it'll be drawing some current and some voltage from the batteries onto that system, and the train will slow down. So during that activation portion of when the train is talking and slowing down and doing all this thing, this capacitor and these inductors drop voltage and current back into the motor to keep the motor running steady the whole time. There you go, electronic class 101. All right, so okay, so now let's go ahead and reassemble this motor. Okay, so we got the motor all back together, so let's go ahead and close it up. Okay, before you move on, you always should test. Okay, we got movement inside there. There you go, you see the motor running. That's good. I don't hear any clicking. That sounds good too. All right, let's go ahead and shut her down. All right, so it looks like the only thing I got left to do is to let's hopefully put it back together. I fixed that gear. I cleaned the spring, the switch. Before I close it all the way up, I'm going to test it one more time on the track. Well, let's just go ahead and close it all the way up, and let's just hope for the best. All right, so let's go ahead. Before I wanted to close it up, I did want to take a look at the gear, the axle gear. And believe it or not, it is broken. Now somebody tried to fix it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's good. That's what everybody should do, is try to fix it. But I can't get in tight enough where you can see it, but it is split right here. Got to take the axle out, and hopefully I don't break anything. That's the scary part of that, is you could break a wheel trying to get it, one of those plastic wheels when trying to get, because they're old. They're 20-something years old and brittle. All right, but let's stutter. Let's take care of that. All right, so let's see if we can take this off. Okay, we got those off. Okay, I got the wheel off without permanently damaging the wheel. So the only step I want to maybe tell you guys about is the distance that the gear has to be from the other wheel. These are like little Q-tips, and it's about that wide. You get it closer than that or too far away, it won't fit inside the motor, and run properly. So you got to get it the right distance. Now the little gears that I got, the 12-tooth gear, is obviously taller than the gear that's in it, so I have to shave off some of the thickness of the gear. I'll do that with my drum. Okay, now I'm going to attach the new gear on. I cleaned it up and I'm going to start putting it on. I use a metal down here because of when you start putting all that pressure, it won't come out the other end. Okay, I don't want to get too close. That looks about right. Put the other gear on, other wheel on. I never glue these wheels back on because I might have to take them back off again. And so I don't want to glue wheels ever back on. There we go. Brand new. All right, let's install it. Okay, now that we got that back in, let's go ahead and close it up. Just make sure it works right here on the track.
I'm Percy, and I'm the number 6 engine.
Okay, here's Leah's English-speaking talking action Percy on the table here. I had an axle gear I had to repair on it. I had to replace the motor gear on it. I had to correct the solder job that's on the wires for the speakers, and I had to replace the wires that run from the battery cable all the way up to the engine, and I had to repair the fuse. So let's take a look at her loco. It looks great. It's a great looking loco. And I just added the Soldering fuel tanker on there. All right, so let's give it a run.
I'm Percy, and I'm the number 6 engine.
Nice and smooth and quiet. No lurching. Coming up to the first one. Oh, past that one. All aboard. Speedy. Caught it that time. All right, thanks for watching.